first job is going to be to remove this hatch, because there's been a lot of leakages as shown in the previous videos. So what we're going to do is take this lid off by unscrewing or drilling out these pop rivets, and we're going to actually then be able to work from the inside out and remove all the gunk around and hopefully seal it up. We're not sure how much we're going to remove yet with the entire hatch, or we'll just go, you know, just the areas on the outside where it may potentially leak. So anyway, one thing at a time. Do you want to do it or don't you? Oh yeah. Okay. That's spinning, yep. Okay, we'll just take these other ones out just to so what's happened here is, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's glue in there in an attempt obviously to minimize the leaks. You can see the glue there, and of course if I try to use that, there's a serious risk of breaking the plastic. Okay, so it's these two here. Similar to the side, I think we're going to have difficulties, even if we drill these out, we're going to have difficulties getting this plastic out. So I think the next option is to remove the entire hatch by undoing these screws all around. Similar situation to the window. And you can see that stuff that they've used here is completely gone hard as a rock. May have a little bit of success here with trying to take this entire roof thing out. That's it, that's almost there, you can see. What?
It's not that easy.
Why?
Because the winders.
Ah, do you got to drill the winders out?
Yeah.
Right, back inside again.
Oh.
No. I don't want to make it the hole in the plastic any bigger than what it is. No, well that's it.
That. Okay.
So they're all the same here. Just a matter of... that's interesting. Pop the head out.
It's turning around.
Probably need to get the little... I'll just continue with these other ones. Yeah, so once that whole unit comes out like that with the fly screen and everything else, which is... There we go. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll go out.
Yeah.
Now this fly screens... Have you got everything or? Yeah. Oh, hold on, it's gripping on the fly screen there. Oh no, that's it. Right.
Okay. So we can put the chair inside.
Yeah. All the pieces ready to be cleaned. So
we still have to finish all along the seam.
Yeah.
Because then that's an emergency.
So this is the area. You can see the seam running up there all the way through. This is where it was coming in and leaking, and then running down the internal wall onto the rail of the window. and then dripping down into the floor there. So it looks like we've got that covered. Covering one leak at a time. So now we've got access. We're going to try to take this whole thing out, unscrew all the screws, as I said, shown before. Okay, looking from through the hatch, I've got access to all these screws. Get on with it. Once I've taken them all off, I'll show you the next step of how we try to take the entire hatch off. Okay, so we've removed all these screws, and now the idea is to try to see whether we can remove the entire hatch without, warping the material. So what I've done here is removed as much as I could from the edges, and I managed to slide the spatula in here. And so again, slowly working my way around, see whether or not I can lift that up like that. It's going to be quite a bit of work. Oh, this seems to work. So I've got the spatula in there, and I've just been, you can see it's making its way across. For this side, because I can't obviously run it without doing some damage, what I've been doing is I've been hammering the glue off like that to try to get as much of the glue out as possible. This way, it's just different techniques. This is the side that we bloody damn thing is. So we're still progressing with removing this and getting under there using these tools, such as that, getting in there. But I think it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier if we actually remove these corner pieces. You can see they're only just pop riveted in, which will mean that each of these sides will then be independent, and we potentially can just remove them that way. Alright, so we've taken these off from each corner, and just to add to the difficulty, these are glued in as well. But we're starting to make a bit of progress. Taking these out individually has certainly helped. So we'll move on. Finally got that out. And the good news is there doesn't seem to be any timber right at this stage. Let's hope we get the same all around. That's basically sandwiching the two in the corner. And we'll probably do the same with the Sikaflex, just to make sure that there's a whole lot of waterproofing around. So on to the next onto the next ones. Right, just the other thing too is with these corners, they're plastic obviously, and we've taken the pop rivets off, but they're also glued in. So the only way to undo that is to gently flex the aluminium plate, which ultimately weakens the glue, and then we're able to actually take it out. So we're concerned about these being extremely brittle. So I just got to go slowly on that. This plastic trim here, which sits inside the channel, we actually don't have to worry too much about separating that from this, because underneath the plastic trim here, underneath there, it's not glued. You can see that moving there. So the idea now, I think, now that we've got one edge off, which is always the most difficult one to get out, these ones here theoretically should pull out. So I'm going to try that now. So just boat gently, you can see how it's coming out. See that? So the first one was a real pain, but these ones actually should be straightforward. See, that's the same thing. So the last half an hour or so we've been really struggling with that first one, this one here, but these ones should just come out pretty much as I'm doing right now. Look at that. There we go. Done. So you can see how it sits in the channel there. And again, happy with that. A little bit on the back here, but aside from that, it's fine. Now these last two I'm going to do the same, but what I'll do is I'll need to have both hands because I want to support that, because as I'm peeling this out, it's going to be making pressure on these corners here where there's glue. So again, just start moving that out, but need to consider that. So I'll just show you the end result. Well, unfortunately I couldn't take that out, so I was able to remove the entire piece, so we should be able to then try to remove that from the two pieces. But again, on inspection, quite happy here. A little bit damp on this one here, but what really is a telltale sign is the edging of this material here, which is the roof cladding, and you can see the edges here. A little bit of dampness there. But all in all, the old man's got to be happy with that. Okay, this is the outside view obviously, and all this crunch, crunch, crunch. Some of it is a little bit soft, but really it's all rubbish. So we're going to clean this absolutely impeccable like we did with the windows. So that way there's no issues at all. So we'll put the bead of Sikaflex all the way across here, and also a little bit on the inside. And that should be sealed up quite nicely. Alright, so getting this first one here was the major pain. After that, it was very easy. And remember, you don't try to lift it up like we were doing. You actually lift it in if you've got a similar hatch to this one. There's the old man cleaning up the parts, getting them nice and clean. And there's my Millard. Yeah, I know, I take every opportunity to show it off. I've got a little bit of work to do on that as well, so I'll be doing another video soon. Pretty much the same principle we used for the windows, making sure that the surface is as clean as possible. A little bit more to go there. This has been incredibly difficult to remove, but luckily you only do this once. But anyway, you get the idea, making sure that the surfaces are clean on both sides. And so we'll run the Sikaflex marine grade through the entire lot. So one of the things we need to do is remove the outer strip. So this is a strip that it sits between, or covers the timber anyway. You get the idea. Problem is if we try to install this as it is, so looking at it further out, yes, we can put that in there like that, for example, but we have no way of determining how if the Sikaflex is penetrated there. So what we're going to do is remove this. To give you an idea, this one here, which hasn't got it obviously, the strip there, that would be a situation where we'll be able to put that in. For example, no limitations as to how we put it in. We just glue that in, screw it in from the outside, and you can see we've got all the visibility inside to be able to manipulate this and modify and so on without having to worry about the skirt. And then later on we'll put the skirt in. Okay, so we've reassembled this. We've put Sikaflex behind. Obviously add a bit more as we go along. So now we're going to present it. Put Sikaflex here around the edges and then screw it in. So what I'm doing here is just positioning prior to adding the Sikaflex to make sure that all the screws are in place. This is what I was saying about it being so much easier. It's just a matter of putting it in here. We'll be able to monitor how much Sikaflex we put there in terms of cover, and that should not leak. And then later on after that we'll put the backing trim there and clean it all up. Sikaflex in place. So this will definitely cover the edge between the cladding and the edge here. So I'll need 2 hands again for this. We'll start screwing it in. Positioning the screws in, and once we're happy with that, we'll screw them down. And then just the same principle as with the windows, we'll clean the excess that comes out. Right, hatch bolted down or screwed down, and now we need to remove the excess Sika. And you can see here, there's plenty in there. From the inside, you can see how the silicone has worked its way to the edge. That's exactly what we want to see. So it's definitely covered the right angle. So that should not leak. Last bit is to add the Sikaflex to the base, and those right here, and which will be screwed onto these things here. So it could leak water through. So we'll just take a little bit more precaution and just put them in 1 corner, 2, 3 and 4 here. And then it's a matter of turning it upside down and pop riveting it into place. Final product, well, almost final, in the sense that it's been put in place. It's all been cleaned up. You can see fly screens are nice and clean. So super happy with this. What we're going to do with the edging, rather than using the original plastic ones that were there, we're going to probably put some aluminium angle line. So just feed it from that gap there, and it's just basically an L-shape angle line, and I think that'll actually cap it off quite nicely. Could even put it so that there's a little bit more lip here. So aside from the small amounts of water damage, as I said earlier on, it's actually in surprisingly good condition. So happy with that. And by not having something in here too, if it rains next, we'll be able to triple check to make sure it's not leaking. Anyway, I hope you got something out of this video. It has been a long slog. What you haven't seen in the video is the process of us cleaning everything up, and that took quite a few hours. So be prepared to spend at least 5 hours to try to do a job like this, if not the entire day. So if you have any questions, just shoot away, and as always, thanks for watching.